All right, Earl. What's on the docket, buddy? What's going on?
All right, first things first, man. Our Browns talk, as always, is presented to you by Cuyahoga.
See the Hoga?
Good to see somebody here can pronounce it correctly.
Let's do it again. Cuyahoga. Say it with me, bro.
Cuyahoga.
Cuyahoga Community College.
I like
Tri-C
Hogas.
supports their students financially, professionally, and personally, and opens up the doors to endless possibilities. Tri-C is where the future starts. Starts now. Classes begin January 17th, 2023. So, boy, this is the situation.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns offense has been stale, to say the least, since Deshaun Watson has taken over as quarterback. We're averaging 9.2 points a game in his 4 starts, and we have like 1 offensive touchdown a game. So who's more to blame for that, Deshaun Watson or Kevin Stefanski? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think it's Deshaun Watson, and it's understandable. We all way underrated how rusty he would be. And I thought he'd be rusty, but not even close to this. Now he's improving. But however, I am convinced that this is the breakout week for the Browns offense under Deshaun Watson.
He drinking the Kool-Aid.
I am convinced that it will happen. Now, you can say it doesn't matter because they're out of it, but the weather's going to be good.
They ain't got nothing to lose now. They're going to be loose.
Nothing to lose. And we can say, as depressed as we all are about the Browns right now, we will feel much more optimistic if Deshaun Watson plays great in these final 2 games.
It's only funny to me.
Yeah.
Because I literally said about what you said last night on my podcast.
Oh, you said that?
I said, you know what? At first I said it's going to be a pretty close game. I said it's going to be like 24-17. Then I said, you know what? They playing with house money now. They going to open this thing up. The Browns is going to win, double-digit win. It's going to be an electric performance. And all us Brown fans is going to say, why haven't y'all been doing it? Because that's just what they do.
In fairness, right, Deshaun has been rusty. This past week, the weather conditions were crazy, extreme. I don't know. I think there's a lot of blame to go around for why the offense has been stale. Mm-hmm. I think in these particular games, I got to blame Watson more, even though I don't blame him like in a let's get rid of him type of way. Just like, he's rusty, whatever. The offense was good before he took over. The offense has been playing well.
But, listen, this is the thing.
He says they're trash.
This the thing, though.
Yeah.
As bad as they looked, they left like 21 points on the field.
They dropped 3 touchdowns.
What are we talking about?
But 2 of those touchdowns were on the same possession, so it's not like they left
14
points on the field. No, really 10 because they scored a field goal on the last one. Or 11 points. So they should have.
Whatever.
I hear you. And the wide receivers and the skill position players in general and the offensive line all contribute. It's a team effort. I don't know that you can blame one particular person. But the bottom line is Deshaun Watson's being paid and is expected to be a superstar. Is he not?
Yes.
Do we all expect him to be a superstar?
Yeah.
I know I do. So
is he trending in that direction?
Not yet. I think he will eventually.
Okay. What do you need to see? Like, statistically wise, what would
I don't even know if it's statistically.
I can't even throw for 300. When last time you seen anybody for the Browns for rudimentary 300 yards?
Baker threw for 300 yards against the Chargers last year.
No, it was Brissett against Buffalo this year. But that's a lot of garbage time yards.
I want to see Deshaun, like, you know it when you see it. You played the game, you know it. When you see a quarterback who's playing great, you're like, that guy's freaking great.
And you know it when you see it. Who
are you blaming?
Are you scared by anything the Cleveland Browns tried out? If you a safety, are you sitting in the film room being like, ooh, Browns coming into town? These route combinations is crazy.
I would feel that way about Amari Cooper.
Okay, he can get open,
yeah,
right?
For sure. We'd have to. If I was playing safety, I would lean more towards Amari's side.
Hey, that's great for 12 yards. I ain't see like these guys, bro.
You talking about blowing the top off?
Yeah.
No.
Listen,
press him. Matter of fact, you take care of anything underneath it. If he just so happened to go deep, I got you.
That's not Stefanski's fault that they don't have that kind of player.
I hate his offense. I hate it.
Hate is such a strong word.
I would watch
strongly dislike.
I would rather watch Minner play. I would rather watch
fire wide.
I'd rather watch St. Ed's or Glenville. I got a McKinley shirt.
So you a spread guy,
bro? Listen.
Well, you know they came out with this thing talking about they want to go air raid. So you like that?
I need you to do it to the max. If you're a run team, You better be the best, most creative, dominant.
They
run
were
team
for a while.
Man, 16 carries ain't no dominance.
He had 24 carries.
Hey, the placebo. You should have had 60 last week.
He had.
Now you get crazy.
He is never satisfied.
I know,
Never.
60. When I watched.
Wait a minute. Did the Saints run the ball 60 times?
Hey, they brought Taysom Hill in and ran.
Did they
Wildcat
run the
on
ball?
It was 39 to 34.
So
total
what are you
carries.
talking about? So nobody ran it 60 times.
So the Saints
Saints
ran.
had 39 carries.
Okay, they did more than the Browns.
By
Okay.
5
Because the last
carries.
drive they had to throw, you know that.
Stop it.
I will say-
17 of Watson's pass attempts came after they were down 17-10.
Hey, I'm gonna say this to you, McNuggets. These guys is running rudimentary bootlegs. Ain't nothing I seen.
We should run more bootlegs with Deshaun Watson.
Oh my God, where's the RPO game y'all was talking? RPO to death.
The weather conditions wouldn't have allowed.
RP, we ain't seen none of them.
Back
What-
to Earl's original question, though.
Yeah.
Who's to blame more?
Yeah.
I think, Bull, you're right where it's everybody deserves some of the blame. We have
Yeah.
receivers dropping passes. It looks a lot different if certain things happen and outcomes are different. But you look at the offense for the first 11 games with Jacoby Brissett. The only change since he's been out is Deshaun Watson at the quarterback, and the offense has taken a step back. So if you're going to blame somebody,
Some injuries on the offensive line, right?
Yeah, but they're all back now.
they're all back. Yeah, like
That was
Pochich
the first
back.
game back.
Yeah.
But if you're going to blame one person, the main change has been at quarterback. Stefanski hasn't changed. The receivers haven't changed. The running backs haven't changed. I think Watson.
I think the
This
scheme has
deserves a break.
changed a little, not maybe as dramatically as we'd all like, but I think that's hard to do during the season. Don't you think it's hard to completely reform the offense in season, or no?
I think to reform the whole offense, absolutely. But
Yeah.
I think you can add some wrinkles, and they should be able to handle
Look
that.
how easy this is.
Yeah.
Look how easy this is. Let's not make it a room service. Let's
Here
not
we-
make it
this,
overtime.
This goes
Hey,
back
hey,
to the adjustments thing
Hey,
again.
here, you know what?
I
We're
don't
gonna
think-
run this.
I don't think they can handle it. G.
We're gonna run this. Here's what we're gonna run right here on two. On two. Ready, break.
You're saying the Browns never do that?
I don't see this route. I don't see that route.
Who's running that? Wait a minute. Let
All right,
me get it on there.
get
Put
it.
the camera on.
Oh, okay.
So who you got that's gonna run this route, and who you got that's gonna run this?
Nobody.
My point exactly.
Well,
so
so
why
you're blaming
are
Kevin
we calling
Stefanski.
it?
Nobody.
Why the heck would we call it?
So if you
But wait, hold on.
G.
G.
You just made a
You
point.
keep blaming Stefanski, but you're saying they have nobody to run that route.
So what you should be doing is this then.
Hold on. This is G's
the king
and
of the pivot. The king of the pivot. G. Bull.
You should be running this then.
here. This is G's answer. He don't want to say it, but I'll say it for him. Who's to blame for the Browns?
Andrew Berry, if you can't read it.
There it is.
Oh, so we
that's-
can go to Barry, right?
That's who you want to say, because what you talking about is not on nobody.
So if you ain't got no receivers, this is what you should be running.
So you a zone guy.
This is what you should be running. There it is.
Let me see that.
There it is.
Wait, time out. Tyvis, Andrew Berry is responsible for 1 touchdown a game and 9.2 points per game in the last 4.
Well, if you ain't got the personnel to run the plays that G is drawing up,
Who are you guys blaming for the
Stefanski.
struggles of the offense?
I'm just asking.
Stefanski.
Then why was the offense better with Brissett?
Yeah, let me finish. 70% on Stefanski.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give 30. I'm gonna give 30 to Deshaun Watson because the 30% he had 2 terrible weather games. Then
he only had 1.
no, it was cold. It was cold as hell against Baltimore too. That wasn't great.
Yeah, but
That ain't got nothing to do with anything.
He
That's
looked-
normal
I
cold.
mean, he looked decent in that game, and they won.
What does that have to do? If it ain't windy, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well, here's the thing, bro.
You
It
play
wa-
in Cleveland.
it wa-
You got to be able to play in cold weather. I mean, last week is extreme.
There was not great weather game for 2 games, as I repeat. and the Texas game is his first game back.
Yeah.
Now look, if he come out here and play terrible and it's 57 degrees, chalk it up.
Well, that's my question. If it's not a very good Watson. You said they're going to break out.
Yeah.
If it's another 1 touchdown performance, I think at some point we're going to see the old Watson again. It may not be this year, maybe next season.
Yeah.
When do you start to worry that maybe he's just not going to be the same player
I wouldn't worry unless it goes into next year.
next year?
If it goes into next year, then I'll start to panic.
Because you got to give him the whole off season with the team. You got to give him the whole preseason
Yeah.
and training camp.
Because let's be honest, guys, the Denver Broncos are a disaster right now, right? They're screwed.
Yeah.
They traded for a veteran quarterback. They're paying him a ton of money, and he's not any good.
And you see how they
If
reacted.
the same thing happens to Watson, if the same thing, they had Russell Wilson for a whole year.
Not even though.
It's hilarious.
Not even like the Hackett dude guy. They got him up out of here in
15
games.
games.
15 games.
Didn't Matt Rule come in with Stefanski?
Yeah.
Matt Rule got hired the same year as Stefanski.
Yeah.
They spent all last year talking about he was going to get fired this year.
Did he ever get a quarterback that he wanted?
No, he couldn't. He didn't even get a quarterback he wanted.
See, and that's
So you got
his
Did he ever go to the playoffs?
No,
well,
They
yeah.
might this year. though.
Stefanski did. That's why he's getting one more year.
but you look at Wilkes. Now all of a sudden,
Well,
how many wins they got?
They shouldn't hire Wilkes, even though he's done a good job.
I wouldn't either. But it's still funny. It's still funny to be like, yo, you doing a great job.
You
but
know what
you
the
ain't
funny
gonna
thing
get
is?
no money.
Rooney Rule.
If you look at the history, I feel bad for Wilkes because he's done a good job. If you look at the history of interim coaches getting the head coach job, they
Never
almost
works
always
out.
fail.
Never works out.
They almost always fail. I think there's 1 out of 12 that's worked out. But who do you blame, Tyvis, most for the struggles of the offense?
I would blame Deshaun Watson. I mean, it's obviously like he said, it's the only variable that's changed is Deshaun Watson, and everybody knew that he was going to come in. It's not like he was going to come in and just be lights out. But I can't solely blame it just on him because he could produce more points if they catch the touchdowns. I mean, you think about DPJ has dropped a touchdown in the last 2 weeks.
Facts.
So that's 14 points right there. So that would change
The
his.
Njoku drop to me is the worst from the last game.
Yeah,
that was the
I
easiest
can't
one.
Worse than the Cooper one?
Well,
He
Cooper at least was
slipped, though.
slipping. He still should have caught it, but he was slipping.
Fair.
The Njoku was standing there.
Fair.
So my thing is, I can't blame Stefanski because he's actually calling plays that should result to touchdowns.
Yes.
These guys just aren't making.
And by the
those
way, that
plays.
happened with Brissett too in the Ravens game.
And you can't 100% blame Deshaun Watson because he's actually putting the ball in a position where these receivers can make the play and they just not make it.
I don't understand why people are so confused about why receivers don't be making no plays when since the beginning of time we done told people that they need more receivers. We keep telling y'all that. And then they mad because those receivers dropped the rock. Like
So
Yeah, but see,
DPJ
they
ain't
have
been
good-
balling this year?
Dude, that's not. We agree they need another receiver.
Yes, they need
but
another-
Cooper and DPJ are good receivers.
Yes.
You want to have a third one. They need-
DPJ is playing well.
Thank you.
He is not. Let's please.
He about to get 1,000.
Hey,
He's not what?
please don't act like he's
what if he get a-
top tier receiver.
Nobody-
I didn't
He's
say
a top-tier
that.
receiver.
I didn't say that.
Second of all, when you look at the receiving core, right? You look at if you want Deshaun Watson to be Deshaun Watson, compare this receiving core to the one he had in Houston, right? Who did you have? What's the dude from Notre Dame?
Will Fuller.
Burner.
He was never there.
Hold on.
Nobody even picked him up this
He
year.
wasn't even playing.
Hold on.
Wait.
Brandon Cooks. Burner.
What's Brandon Cooks with him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
DeAndre.
What, a year?
And
Last year.
they had DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, they had Hopkins in the beginning of his career.
So what I'm saying is,
But they didn't. Those guys didn't play. Hopkins and Cooks, I don't think, played together with
So
him.
yes, we already know that they need a Schwartz was supposed to be that guy.
Yeah.
He was.
The Brown
and
guys-
they missed.
There's no doubt. In a perfect world, the Browns go out and trade. Like we saw a bunch of good receivers get traded.
They ain't happening this year.
It's not.
No.
Why?
No.
What we got to trade?
What? The Browns gave up a 5th-round pick for Amari Cooper, did they
And
not?
they fleeced them too. That
That's
won't
the
not happen.
Cowboys.
They won't. And the Cowboys probably wish they never made
I'm
that
saying
deal.
you could trade 2nd-round picks. What you can make.
Who?
I haven't thought about yet who they're going to trade for,
Hey,
but
hey,
They're
it's going to
drafting
be
Jalen
hard.
Hyatt, or Hyatt out of
It's
Tennessee.
going to be
I
hard.
would draft him
That's
too,
that's
but
a lot.
I
It's
would
going
draft
to be
it. I
hard
would
for the
draft
Browns
a
to get the guy.
defensive
But in a
back.
perfect
Pencil it in.
world, Amari Cooper's your number 2 receiver. DPJ's your number 3. In a perfect world, that you
Yes.
get that elite speed guy. It's hard. They may not be able to do it.
He would be in the slot.
The speed guy?
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in terms of
Because
their,
he's the only one that can
I'm
go
just
to the
saying
slot.
in terms of impact.
Yeah.
Oh, impact.
Impact.
Okay, I got you.
Benjamin Solak, who writes for The Ringer, released his list of top 50 receivers this year. And
Yeah.
G, this is to your point. Cooper was like 32nd this year, and then DPJ wasn't on it. So the top
Yeah.
50 receivers in the league, 32 teams, 2 receivers
Yeah,
each.
DPJ's probably somewhere around 50.
Yeah.
And Amari Cooper's a lower end number 1 receiver, in my opinion.
He had him as a high end number 2 is how he ranked
Listen,
him.
Amari. The reason Amari is 32 is because if I'm playing the Cleveland Browns and I'm in the secondary, guess what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Right.
wherever wherever Amari is, we slide in coverage and roll in coverage.
Right.
We'll go with the one-on-one with DPJ.
Right.
If you had another burner or somebody else to fear for a defense, we can't just double because we got to worry about that guy too.
Although in fairness,
that's the problem.
In fairness, they had that in Dallas with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, and they still traded Cooper away. He didn't have a great year last year.
They wish they did.
That was dumb.
They wish they did.
Lot of people thought, like, so if you looking at the offense and you looking at it as a whole, when I look at the Browns offense, we taking this to the vacuum like, oh, it's good enough. No, it's not. It's not good enough. You know why?
They were scoring 24 points.
No. So
But here, I don't agree with you, G. I don't think we think it's good enough.
Okay, well,
I don't agree.
I don't let me put words in your mouth.
With you.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I'm with you on this. They,
And
need
that's a Browns fan mentality. Baker's good enough. Stefanski's good enough. Whatever. And somebody tweet, as much as I've defended Stefanski, I saw somebody tweet today, he's got the best record of any Browns coach since '99.
We don't care about that.
Is that true?
Those are
He's
not
2 games over 500.
those are not reasons to keep him.
I could care less.
My reason to keep Stefanski is I think he's a decent coach who, and I think there's only a few great coaches.
Do you think he's
I think most decent coaches with time and weapons and things around him will get better.
Would you say he's a great leader of men?
No, I can't say that.
Boom.
Earl, hilarious.
But we also don't know that for like.
He said,
I
boom.
get why that's such a narrative because he doesn't get animated on the sidelines, but Jason says it, and we just don't know what a guy's like in the locker room. And I mean, you played for Urban.
I did play
Urban's
for
in your face at all times. I'm sure you played for coaches who were more laid back, but once the door closed to the outside world, can turn it up a notch. Gee, I'm
Was
sure you
Pete
did
Carroll
too.
a great leader of men?
Yes.
He was?
Yes, he was.
But he wasn't
All
necessarily
the-
animated over the top.
All the fiery dudes seem to.
Pete is one of those guys that if you see him, he got a smile on his face the whole time, but he definitely is a great coach.
Let
But
me
say-
about too soon before we move on.
But like you're saying, you can tiptoe that line. Like you don't have to be Dan Campbell at all times.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, none of us know for sure that Stefanski's not a good leader, but he doesn't seem.
Earl do, because he keeps saying it.
Well, none of us really know that.
I ain't gonna say I know for sure, but it's hard to convince me that he's
Only
anything
because
other
he's a
than that.
mild-mannered coach do we think that, right? Like,
I'm gonna just keep it real.
keep it real.
Let me ask you this before you keep it real.
Okay.
Kevin Stefanski or Eric Bieniemy?
I'd probably say Bieniemy.
Okay,
What do you
go
mean?
ahead. Keep it
his
real.
playbook's better.
Now, LaShawn McCoy said that he's
Yeah,
terrible.
but he's got Patrick Mahomes.
LaShawn McCoy said he can't really call plays.
And-
But
and-
go ahead.
And Sean McCoy hates Eric Bieniemy too.
Yeah, I know.
Sean McCoy.
He can't stand it. He said
Shady
he's not.
McCoy.
He said he's not good at calling plays.
I think the way I'm looking at it, and this is just could be a conspiracy theory, but it's probably not. The tea leaves is saying this. Kevin Stefanski really don't even have that much say. Kevin Stefanski, to me, when you look at the organization from top down, Kevin Stefanski may have 15%. I feel he don't get a say on the players. I feel he don't even really call the plays like that. They just.
I don't agree with that.
That's baloney.
Hold on.
Come on.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I feel like that when they go in and when they say they pulling knowledge together, I really feel like they pulling knowledge together. They sitting in there with a bunch of people talking about what plays, what players, how to scout, all the above. I don't even think Kevin Stefanski even have the juice to get rid of Joe Woods during the middle of the
So
season.
he on strings.
Bro, he's-
Puppet
I
and
don't
string.
buy that. And that I know some of it is referencing an article written by a local beat reporter who I personally don't have a lot of respect for. Everybody makes their own choice. And I clearly, if you read parts of the article, the guy is scared of the word analytics, as a lot of people in this town are, and doesn't even really understand what they mean. It's clear when you say, well, he has to, in this article it said, well, Stefanski has to throw it a lot or he's going to get fired. Well, the Browns ran the ball fourth most in the league. Yeah. So he's obviously not throwing it a lot.
So let me ask you a question. Do you believe that Johnny Manziel, they called down and said, put Johnny Manziel in the game?
Yeah.
I do believe that.
Yes.
So why would you not believe that they would be sitting in there calling plays too?
There's a big step.
Because if you're talking about ownership don't really know the X's and O's. So that's why you hire the guy that does.
You know how
X's
many
and
owners
O's.
don't know the X's and O's?
So you can make a suggestion. You can say, listen, I really want to see us throw the ball down the field. So as a head coach, all right, during this course of this game, I got to take some shots down the field.
There it is.
But gee,
they're not doing it,
don't
though.
throw the ball.
They don't throw the ball down the field.
Watch this. Here's the thing. This is how I know it's crazy. Because people always say, well, they did it the fourth most, right? Well, given the roster, given what they had, they should have did it the first most.
Well, you could argue that if you want, but fine, G.
Wait a minute.
But to say they're throwing it to please, if they were trying to throw it to please the owner, they'd be a lot lower than fourth in running the ball.
Well, here's what, and we can get into the minutia. What I'm saying is
It's not minutia. It's obvious. They don't throw the ball that much.
No, actually, no, that's not really the minutia.
Yeah.
If you sit here saying they don't throw the ball that much, it's about the situationals of when you throwing the ball. If you look at if you are 3rd and 2, right?
You should run the ball.
Run the ball.
That's why they threw it, right?
They should throw the ball.
They came back in 4th and 2 and threw it one route.
And listen, no one's defending Stefanski on those play calls, but to say they don't run the ball enough, like, it's all circumstantial. And your boy Cleve TA, I want to pull a stat real quick.
Yeah.
He tweeted out this morning, explosive play rate. The Browns are 3rd in the NFL in explosive run rate this year. Super high. They're 27th in explosive pass rate. So if this mantra from upstairs is we need an explosive air raid offense, Stefanski's not listening.
And by the way, in the last 4 years, the 8 teams to go to the Super Bowl, 6 of the 8 were top 5 in explosive pass rate. The other 2 were 9th. So you have to have an explosive passing team to go to the Super Bowl.
And we don't
they're
have
27.
that. We don't
They're
have that.
27.
It's not like those guys are growing on trees.
Name me the last team that won a Super Bowl without either a great quarterback or a quarterback
Baltimore Ravens.
or a quarterback who played great in that postseason.
Can you consider the Broncos with Peyton Manning?
But that's statistic.
That's a great one.
You can't say a great quarterback or play great. Like, no, you can't have it both ways.
I can't.
Who was the Super Bowl that played bad?
Russell Wilson.
You're not going to win.
No.
Russell Wilson did.
Gee, I'm not saying just play great in the Super Bowl. I'm saying play great the entire postseason.
Russell Wilson.
Well, you got to.
No, the answer is Peyton Manning.
The answer is Russell Wilson.
What are you talking about? Peyton Manning's not a great quarterback?
Well, by the time the Super Bowl came, he was throwing ducks. He couldn't throw the ball more than 7 yards.
That's fair. That's a good point.
I just told you in
He's a great
the year that they
quarterback.
won the Super Bowl,
Here's
dude threw like 3 interceptions
Here's
in
my
the
correlation.
game before.
If the Browns, here's the correlation. It ain't about how much the totality of when you scoring. It's how you score and what ways you doing it. The Browns be up 10-0 every week, looking great. 17-0. If your playbook's so freaking great, it should be great in the second quarter, the third quarter, and on game-winning drives.
I agree.
They're just not.
Some of these arguments.
Whoa! Game-winning drives.
Wait a second.
Complete the passes.
Listen.
He threw it where it was supposed to be.
Complete the passes.
Well, that would have been a game-tying drive.
True.
Yeah,
But
very different. Very
fair.
different.
Excuse me.
A lot of the arguments you're making are fair. Criticism of Stefanski is fair. To say he's overwhelmingly throwing the ball is just not true.
I say he's 70-30 to blame.
No, but that was the argument in this article, was that, he has to throw the ball or he's going to be gone.
Hey,
Let's bring in Leroy.
Okay.
Leroy Horde is with us.